Fantastic. So if I were a CMO or a marketer, one of the challenges that I see is, uh, you know, when you really talk about omni-media, the real media planning, in my view, is still fragmented, right? Because you can say that, I do television, I do digital, which is performance marketing, then I have OOH. But the ability to build the customer journey or my audience journey, if I were to call it, across these channels and mediums is still not ideal. And especially we have been in marketing for such a long time that it's still being talked about, but we don't experience it, right? And I think when you really talk about digital, I pretty much agree with what you're saying, which is they talk of personalization, but I haven't seen a real personalization at the scale that is needed. So I think you won't be fired for IBM is the real principle that happens with media planning, and I agree with that. So given that you're building a platform and you see these fragmented channels with their own programmatic methods that are there, if I were a CMO looking at saying, hey, how do I start counting my beans in terms of building a brand, what would you recommend to say, hey, the data doesn't seem to talk to each other, but I think intuitively this is the way you need to go. Okay, so what would you recommend given your experience of what you're building?
Right. So there are again, there are few slices or few ways we approach the problem. The first is we go to marketeers who have decided to spend some money. They don't know, this is the whole 50% of my money is effective. I don't know which 50. So we go to these guys and say, hey, listen, you're already spending a portion of your budgets in out of home media. Potentially, why don't we look at bringing some measurement, some automation, some ability to deliver content dynamically in a relevant manner? So that's our one conversation that we have. And sometimes it works. Sometimes they turn around and tell us, we know why we are buying it. We don't want it measured. Or I've had, some marketeers tell me it's 6% of my budgets or 10% of my budgets. I would rather fix my 90% than focus on fixing this 10. Right? Obviously, having an automated platform where you can kind of make the experience easy then gets them to a table. But again, I'm talking about the platform is about 7 years old, and we have had a progressive experience over a period of time. Right? I would say today the acceptance is very high. I've had CEOs come to me and tell me, CEO of a bank told me, this is the only media that I don't get any information on. And I would love to work with you guys, right? So I think getting that feedback of what is working, what is not working, definitely is one motivation for them to come on board. But then that's only the 40 or 50 billion that is getting spent in out of. Then we go to the digital guys and we say, listen, are you facing a reach saturation with, or are you having difficulty in finding certain audiences because they've turned ad blocker on, they're not responsive to your messaging, etc. And then we try and build some incremental reach plans where it is seen as a increase a portion of their digital budget gets allocated in an automated manner. Now, interestingly, when we spoke to them about 2-3 years ago and we started having this success with a rideshare company, and one of the things that the marketer told me is, can you not call it out of home? Because if you call it out of home, I have a different person dealing with those budgets. So we said, okay, from now on, we'll call it video, VIDEOOH, right? So that you can say, oh, I'm delivering video to YouTube and I'm delivering a video to a bus station or to a gas station, right? So you are able to then position it in that ecosystem of. So I think it's a question of where you start the conversation, and I think we need to have both conversations to see how it progresses.